Kicking off all the streams right now. It'll be just a minute before I'm live. Want to hear something cool? I'm into vinyl records, and I love the treasure hunt, right? Well, right near my house over the weekend, went to my local favorite record store, and wouldn't I find something awesome like the Star Trek 4 soundtrack on vinyl, and a record that looks like it had never been played before. Now I know. Well, okay, so Star Trek 4 soundtrack on vinyl, really? Yes! It's gonna go awesome with my Star Trek 4 Laserdisc, which I also have. Ha ha ha! Hey everyone. I love Star Trek 4. Let me make sure I'm going. Okay, I see myself live on YouTube. See-ish myself live on Twitch. Yes, I not only have a Laserdisc player, but I have it hooked up to my modern TV. Because I don't know why. Because I'm always like this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDO stream, youtube.com/Dungeons and Dragons/live, and facebook.com/DDO Unlimited. Holy moly, have we got a day in store for you. We just went live within the past half hour here with Update 45. That means The Alchemist. That means the 64-bit client, Epic, Catacombs, Dolaras, and basically a metric ton of systems work, combat work, and other things that have led the Update 45 release notes to almost hit a record on on length. I think the longest ever release notes we ever did, or we've ever done to date, was the Menace of the Underdark release notes in 2012. But Update 45's release notes are giving it a real run for the money here. It's a lot to read, I understand. It's also a lot to edit, and I also understand that there's a few errors in it from what we posted up last night. I'll be working this afternoon to kind of do another edit pass on the release notes for accuracy, and I apologize for a few errors slipping into the notes this time. There's a lot of them, and although we had a couple of eyes taking a look at it, it's just a little bit too easy to miss. As you can see here, I'm just scrolling. That's a lot to read. So, anyway, I'll be taking a pass on that today, but it is currently available to take a look at, so if you want to do that, you can. I'm actually going to real quick go back up to the top and call out just a couple of things of special note for those who are just joining us, maybe be a little less aware of what's going on. We're debuting Update 45, Age of the Alchemist. It's now live. It's a new class, Alchemist, free to VIP. If you're a season pass holder, not only is it free, but, you know, it'll be perma unlocked for you. It's available in the DDO store for everyone else. The basic idea of an alchemist is you'll create arcane effects, coat your weapons in toxins and chuck potions and things like that. It's an arcane class. Can do a whole bunch of different things, and it's got an interesting mechanic, which is that your spells are essentially color-coded, type-coded, but color-coded, if you want to think about it that way. And by doing various colors and various combinations, you'll unlock reactions that'll buff your alchemist and do all sorts of stuff once you start digging into the alchemist enhancement trees, of which there is 3. Other thing I'm going to call out, though, this kind of hit us last second. We realized we haven't really done a lot of promotion on this yet, but as of right now, the anniversary event is back. Maybe I'll take a look at that here a little bit today with the new Alchemist. There are a few new rewards there, and this will be available through March 8th. Through March 8th. It turned off the morning of March 9th on the anniversary event. Also, the other big thing is the 64-bit game client beta. I'm not going to go into the rest of the notes there, but a lot of questions about the beta. You know, is it going to help my X computer? Is it going to help Y computer? What does it even mean? For the non-techie like myself, it allows your computer to use more modern, let's just say, processing from your main motherboard's processor. It allows you to use far more RAM, of which most computers have, you know, oogles of gigabits at this point, rather than the former cap of a 32-bit client of 2, I think it is. So it'll open up a lot of memory usage on your computer in a way that should hopefully provide a much smoother, better experience. And what we're doing here today is putting it out in beta. I'm going to do one more quick navigation before I check out where my client is, which it looks like I'm actually updated now. It is a fairly big update because we've got a lot of stuff here this time around. And I'm going to be on Kyber, although I have not even created an Alchemist. I'm going to create an Alchemist live with us here today and just kind of mess around with it a little bit. But I wanted to quick call this out on the show here today. The 64-bit beta is now available as of about a half hour ago. And what you do to switch over to it is see that little arrow that's on the game launcher? Click that, click Options, go over to the General tab, and then at the bottom, it'll say which game client you want to use. 32-bit, 64-bit, or the old 32-bit, which don't use that unless you absolutely have to. So you'll switch over to the 64-bit client or back to the 32-bit client, depending on your preference. And the launcher will basically shut down and then relaunch as a bigger version of itself or lesser version of itself. And then you'll log into the game world with that experience. You can swap back and forth as often as you want. Doesn't really matter. You'll have your own user preferences INI file in your My Docs if you're techie enough to utilize that. There's both a 32-bit and 64-bit version, so you can set preferences for each if you want. And this is a beta. Frankly, it's exactly how we did it on the Locho side. We rolled it out in beta just to make sure that everything was okay, made sure that it was real easy to switch back and forth to if you wanted to, and then ultimately removed the beta once everything was running smoothly. But just in case, we're letting people know about that right now. We'll find out today, huh? Because I'm going to be using it on the Shure here in just a minute. I don't want to show it on the desktop because I don't want to do a desktop screen grab. It's just a little too much of a... I just try not to do it. Oh, that's interesting. I actually am now in the 64-bit client automatically, but that's I think not going to be your experience because I had been using this computer to test out an internal 64-bit client dev build this week, so it must have just saved that preference from that. It'll default to 32. And you'll need to switch it over to 64-bit. I guess unless you logged into the QA server in recent days. Can't be too many of you out there. All right, let me swap on over to the Gamecom. There we are. And let me take a quick look at our chat before I kind of settle down for the rest. I'm on Kyber today. I would think I'm going to roll up a level 7 Alchemist and then pop into the anniversary event, kind of see where we go there. Sorry, T13, no 4K scaling. It is a lot to read in one sitting. I completely understand on these release notes. So, this is real inside baseball, but when the notes get as long as they do for Menace of the Underdark and now Update 45, we run into a weird quirk of our website where I cannot edit the document. When I go into the kind of WYSIWYG publishing editor, it just blanks everything out because the word count is too high. I don't know, it's some kind of issue. So what that means is I have to rebuild the notes for every typo I want to fix. And unfortunately, like we mentioned earlier, there's at least 3 I found overnight on the 45 release notes. So I'm going to take a crack at that this afternoon, basically rebuild the notes from top to bottom and hopefully catch any of the kind of remaining out-of-date stuff that might be in there from Lamania. I'll show you how much it is in the DDO store here. Alchemist $14.95. Someone says in the chat on Twitch. Less problems for DirectX 11 ? Fala Nashoba mentions on Twitch. I don't think so. This really is not related to the DirectX compatibility issue. That is typically caused by a Windows 10 machine bringing in DirectX 12 and DirectX 12's backwards compatibility having some issues with DDO and a bunch of other games too, but specifically DDO, to the point that if you, say, try to launch the launcher on a new install and you get past the authentication, but it just doesn't let you enter the world, it kind of blanks out and goes, woo. What you want to do is run the Microsoft DirectX end user runtime, and you can get that from the Microsoft website, and that should solve your issues there. Unfortunately, the 64-bit thing does not affect that. It was a 4 gig cap before. There you go. Yes, anniversary event is live through March 8th. If you multi-box, could you run both versions at once? That is a... Yeah, I think that's just a... Try it, let me know, but I don't see why not. But we'll see. Blank screen on Twitch? Okay. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think about the fact I might not be able to vet status up the new class. I'll take a look at that in a second here. What are the changes to the guild ship cargo hold? Well, the changes is you probably have a lot more bank alts now. No, the changes is we're getting rid of the resist shrines and the NPC buffs. All the tavern, bank, and other associated amenities are all there. It's the stat buffs that are gone, including the elemental resists. Currently seeing if the Inquisitive is still stupid OP, and the answer so far is yes. If we need to do additional work on Inquisitive, we certainly will. I think anyone who's been keeping an eye on the forums in recent weeks will know that. Let's see where we are right now before we make people even angrier at us on that one. All right. DX12 does not have the legacy files, which are required for running DDO and DX11. Folks need to download the DX installer, but not the web version, Owen Hill says. Yes, although I have to admit, I have thrice now used the web version, and it's worked for me. But I've also heard enough people say that it has not worked for them, that it's probably not bad advice. However, like I said, I've just used the plain old website one. It works just fine. It's worked just fine every time I've tried to use it, but I don't know. Anyone else cringe at his gigabit? I am not a computer tech. All right, let me, I realize I have not yet taking a look at Facebook chat. Let me do that. Hello, everyone over on Facebook. Very nice to see you here. Come on, Facebook, show me. All right, well, let me switch over and start to look at our Alchemist, which is now on the bottom, right here. Combining magic, intricate knowledge of potion making, arcane magic, their stats, intelligence, most important. It's basically the DC and spell point one, and then constitution for everybody. Tried to change to 64-bit, but when I hit world to go to, it shuts down. Okay, thanks for the feedback on that. You just saw me do it. I guess we'll see. I think I'm going to stick with, gosh, I don't even know what race to do. I don't know that I've played a wood elf. Maybe I'll do that. No, not lower intelligence. Yeah, that's a good idea. No, I'll be a human. Okay. So, intelligence. I'm going to max that sucker out. Give myself just enough strength to not be a burden on myself. Get rid of a couple of penalties. Got 2 points left, so why don't I toss that into... Tempted to say Dex. There's only 32. Yeah, let's do it in Dex. Okay. For skill points, as you can see, they have quite a few skill points at their disposal, and quite a few skill points at their disposal as well, particularly with that high intelligence that you might well have. For combat styles, you can pick single weapon fighting. That ties into quite a bit in the enhancement, one of the enhancement trees at least. Never quite know what to start with. I think I'm going to start with point blank. And then let's just do, I wonder if rapid reload. Anyone know, has anyone tested on Lamani if rapid reload helps with the Alchemist? I don't actually know that one. Why don't I also give myself a better DC? We'll do that too. Alright, so I got a whole bunch of spells to pick. What do I want to focus on in terms of output on damage? I like the idea of focusing on poison, because it's kind of neat. But, so let's go with the Vial of Venom. Yeah, Obscuring Mist, no. Flying Dust. And then, Cure to Bad. Cure to Bad. Touch range, huh? Yeah, why not? And just for funsies, let's pick a couple others here. All right. I'm just going to... Hey, you know what? That's fine. Looking good. And I'm going to call this person... wonder if I already have one of these. Nope, already taken. By me. Yay. Alright, Alchemist. That'll work. I'm checking out chat. Rapid reload does not impact thrown weapons. Okay. Shot works, reload, no. If I go, poison, I have to do a save throw against singing Alice Cooper songs every turn. Yeah, I'm done with that. Yeah. It says I can start at level 7 here. Let's go for it, huh? Do have quite a few skill points with that high intelligence, so I will be curious to see what that means from our excellent builders out there. Alchemist feats you'll get. Drink potions while moving without being interrupted. Well, that's a good one. Tempted to go single weapon fighting, but I don't know. Could always go with the meta magics as well. And do precise shot. Luring elixir. That's a slow, and we'll do cure mod. They can inscribe from scrolls, I believe, similar to the artificer and such. All right, so now we have a choice. One, you can take your, well, quick draw. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. But you can also get a boost to your caster level for the various 2 complementary color types of spells. Yeah, int for simple weapons if it's higher. Yeah, I would take Battalion Brew. That works. Because my strength is nothing, and dex is nothing to write home about. I'm going to... The reason I'm doing Inflict is in case I have any... Hail Masters in the party. Why not? All right. I'm getting there. Sorry for those who are perhaps not too excited in seeing this, but it'll be interesting. And like I said, we just went live at 11:30 here, so I didn't get a lot of time to do prep work for this. So I think on this case, I'm going to... missing for rapid shot. Dex 13. I'll have to take that. On my next point level up to get that, I think. That's greater spell pen. Let's take a couple level 3 spells. Nice. Melt lock, huh? That's neat. Let's check that. Molotov cocktail, because, hey, that's fun. And of course, you do get a heart of wood to do any kind of respecking if you need to. Except for the levels. There's some good stuff here. It's going to take me a while to actually figure out what I want to do, but I'm just going to stick with what I got. All right. So let me drop some action points, and this will get us into the various enhancement trees, which is Bombardier, Apothecary, and Vile Chemist. I've had, there was that one question about Vile Chemist that I saw earlier. Let me see if I can dig that one up. I'm not finding it now, sorry. I saw something on Vile Chemist, and now I'm not seeing it. It's as exciting as watching inventory management. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Some good talk over on YouTube about building an Alchemist. Someone reporting a sound issue with the 64-bit client. I love that question, Ibergar, over on YouTube. I bet you have regular company meetings about what you can and cannot tell us about the future of the game. It tends to be a little more organic than that, less formalized. I think largely due to the size of our company, right? People tend to be pretty empowered to make their own decisions based on experience, hopefully, of making the correct decisions. So there actually isn't a lot of that. It'll often be about me, like maybe walking over someone's desk or walking over to Coco's desk or Sev or someone and say, hey, do you feel comfortable me letting them know that X is happening, Y? And usually it's like, yeah, or and that tends to be it. But formal company meetings, nah, we don't do that kind of thing. So, no TR lock on Alchemist, I guess. All right, I like Vile Chemist. Let's do Vile Chemist. Vile Chemist also does have a lot of good single weapon fighting stuff, so. Melee or ranged attack. I am going to go to ranged on this one. It looks like I'm kind of building a little more ranged here, so. I'm not sure if I'm committing to the orb thing yet, though. Let's see what that does, huh? I'll use them. All right. I was wondering what Alchemist gear means. It looks like Alchemical Apprentice Robe gives you mage armor. Engraved ring is standard. Black wolfskin belt. I think that's standard, right? Winter boots. So it looks like most of the stuff is not particularly new. Do get a starter orb, though. That's kind of cool. All right. I have not heard of any, quote, caster level bugs from inscribing like conjure bolts. I have not heard of any. I plan to use that, so whatevs. So, Ebergar, my guess on that is you will want to run, if you're having an issue where the 64-bit client is authenticating and that you're pushing a button to, say, log into a game world, but then it just sort of blanks out on your computer, you probably need to run the DirectX compatibility thing from Microsoft's website. That would be the DirectX end user runtime. Is the Wednesday stream not a formal meeting? Good point. We can call it that. Let's take a look at the new stuffs. Trying to remember in my own head now what the new stuff is. I never actually saw this before. I know it ain't no worries. I know it's not the motherboard or flaming forum post. Although I think that forum post might well end up being what I'm gonna use on this thing. Captain Bling, loads in year's to-do list. That's new, isn't it? It's a trinket slot with Order's Wrath, huh? That's interesting. Artemis Aegis, yeah, that's the large shield. This one's new. Gives you fortification, fortitude, insight fort. It's a big fort. Fort. So if you want to build a fort, may I suggest the Artemis Aegis? Oh, the Brussels sprout beater? Is that really? Okay. Oh, the Brussels... I didn't catch that. Where was that? Russell. Oh, yeah. Oh, so it'll be a one-handed version then of the broccoli basher. Sweet. Nice. Nope, you cannot give back things that you have previously purchased. No worries. Hi, hello everybody. I'm gonna pop into the anniversary party, and just for kicks, I'll probably do it at, let's say, level 8. Although, actually, before I do that, I need to head into a shrine quick and take care of my spells. So it'll be just a minute. Yes, as of right now, the anniversary party is live. It'll be going through March 8th. At least this time around, I remembered to do this, huh? Normally, I'm really bad at this kind of thing. It's a ranged attack for poison shot. I don't know that I'm actually using bluff on this character. Alright, I want to do curative ads. Let's do the empty bottle. Fine Dust, and I like that Lesser Evolution. Let's give that sucker a shot. I'm basically going to put my attack spells on row 1. Generally, I'll do buffs row 2, and then specific kinds of buffs on row 3. That's usually how I like to do it. Take more Curative Add and Greater Venom, because I do want to be a poisoned person. I like the idea of Melt Lock, too. That's kind of neat. So I'm going to take that. I may actually end up switching to the 5, 6. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to pop 5, 6, 7 to be my heals. Alright, that should be enough to get me into the dungeon. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Javor, I was thinking about doing quests at level just to make it kind of an easier experience while I figure out how to play an Artificer. But at the same time, let's pop up a couple levels, because, you know. Alchemist, 1495. DDO points. Ibergar, I can never remember the exact way that they put these words together, but it's the DirectX end user runtime installation from Microsoft is, I believe, the thing that you're looking for. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of UMD alchemists out there, because it is a granted class skill, and you tend to have a lot of skill points with your intelligence. I don't know on the Alchemist scrolls. That's a good question. If there's time, maybe I'll pop over and take a look. Actually, while I'm at it, let me take a quick look at the other thing I got going on.
House Fjarlan guards block a kobold from entering the anniversary party. The excited creature waves to you.
Scrag know you! You helped Scrag in harbor!
The kobold points inside.
I have not actually seen what new stuff we might have this year as well. But we'll see.
The coin lords raise a glass to you as you enter the grand ballroom.
Got some new tabletop people, I see. A group of 12 adventurers roll for initiative. Nice. I'm asking on the Alchemist scroll question right now. All right.
The group at the nearby table looks familiar. Perhaps you met them in a tavern somewhere.
All right, everyone ready to give this thing a shot? Oh, evolution. That's interesting. Alright, back to chat. Alright, let's do this. Perhaps it's fitting that my first act of Alchemist is to attack Steel Star,
Good.
huh?
I've been dying to try this out.
He's been fighting Alchemist for months.
The Warforged clatters to the ground, but the head somehow continues speaking. Still a few problems with this build. I know. Next time I'll try a different rune arm, or maybe a crossbow.
I have no idea. Let's see if I've done anything different this year. Oh, I'm damn different this year. Whoa. Got a lecture? Oh no, we have source sleds. Dude.
A dark figure beckons to you. Welcome, he cries cheerfully as he raises his weapon. Cordovan whispers something as he falls.
Okay, that must be...
You can't quite make it out, but you think it was something like, not
Figure out why that poison shot is not giving me ammo.
A figure sits brooding on a throne.
Yeah, without getting too much into it, it's true. Warforged, they, in lore, will self-identify if they wish to. Various sort of gender characteristics, but Warforged themselves are genderless. Or they have gender without sex, I guess, as someone's pointed out, possibly the more accurate way to put it. Why does my room change but no one else's does? I have no idea. I don't know why. Well, I kind of know. I mean, I know the first couple of years was because players figured out a way to cheese it, which is also fairly ironic, in a way that I find enjoyable. But I don't know why this year. I think it's just because it's kind of an open space, maybe a little easy to tweak and fun to do. Now let's leave the gender talk off the show.
The creature emits a
I don't
guttural
even think
groan
what I said was
and
actually accurate.
collapses. Harbor Master Zin motions for you to stop. The kobolds have taken over the chapter house. No one is allowed back there until we get the situation under control.
Uh-oh. There now. Bit of a spike.
The Harbor Master nods at the door. The kobolds are back there. Maybe you can do something with them. Kobolds rally around a bonfire, yipping and chanting.
Zerapul, you are the second person to report running into an issue with sound playback in the 64-bit client. I'll have to follow up on that after the show, see what's up there. I assume you've tried switching your audio profile, double-checking it to make sure that it didn't get reverted or something like that. Really? Oh, okay. Armand. I remember to do that, I'm going to show you a little bit about the new bank tab. That's a good point. I forgot that we actually did that. So I can show that off too.
The kobolds have transformed the chapter house into an armed camp.
Kobolds not welcome at your party? Then kobolds not welcome you here.
Can you explain a little bit more of what you mean by, quote, the bank is not working forehand? Need a little more detail to be able to follow up on that. Other than I can walk over to a bank towards the end of the show and try it out and see if it works.
Kobold shamans mock you from above.
You not like kobolds here? Now you know how kobolds feel when you go in their sewers. Kobolds never forget. Like this.
If you do min level 1, it qualifies 1 and 10. Well, it's probably because it's not exclusionary in the search bar, but inclusionary. And since 10 has a 1 in it, it probably is doing that. That said, clearly that's something we'll have to take a look at. Need to remember which ones of mine are close attacks and which ones are not. The fine dust is short range. I would guess 2 and 20 and 3 and 30 then would be the same way. Unless not. Armand. Yes, DDO is up. We were able to get the worlds up, fingers crossed, pretty smoothly. So, looking good.
Kobolds scamper through the seats of the darkened theater.
Go, my lord, lead kobolds!
They cry.
My understanding is there should be an option to do either forward or backwards sorting by level. So you can opt to either be 30 to 1 or 1 to 30. You can also do it by slot and some other things that are in the release notes. Glad to hear that, Rhoda.
A pair of kobolds peer down an open trapdoor.
You go down! You lost it!
Says one to the other.
Sneaky thing! You go! I want to drop keys.
There we go. Hey, nice to hear from you, Death on Kenneth. I'd have to call in the release notes to get all the info on what everything is what. I don't actually know. There's a lot you can sort by. Oh, you know what? I bet, Waldemac, I haven't actually followed up, obviously, because I'm just talking to you right now after hearing it just now. Try pulling the item out and putting it back in your bank and see if that causes it to register in the shared account bank. Perhaps you need to refresh the stuff that's in it, if there's a bug with it.
You spot the new dark overlord of all the kobolds standing atop the throne. It's not.
Yeah, I noticed. I noticed that too, Triax. That the historic DDO favicon and the taskbar is not showing
Jeets
on Windows
thinks
10
that
for me
becoming a
either.
dark
Instead, I'm just kind of
overlord
seeing a
will win over
generic
Melicia's heart.
placeholder. So
You'll need
looks
to
like that's
enlist her
a
help
bug
if
as
you
well.
want to save the addled halfling from himself. You spot an unexpected figure among the party guests.
Oh, all right.
Sighs Melicia.
I'll help you with your pathetic little friend.
Now to return to Jeets and delve inside his mind.
Yeah, it hasn't caused any problems other than visual thing.
Melicia uses her arcane powers to open a pathway leading into the mind of Jeets. It's very clear what's on Jeets' mind. Melicia is not amused. The dark form recoils from your assault.
Well, I guess we probably could have run in a higher level. That's fine. Yeah.
The dark overlord seems to be weakening.
I know what they're trying to do, but the bad thoughts, they're too strong.
Yep, if you pull the weapon out and put back in the weapon sort sees it. Thank you, Waldemac. I suspected that might be the case. So what you basically need to do is refresh the data table, I think, or some kind of techie thing. But that sucks. Maybe there's something we can do about that. A re-index. Thank you, Kevin. That's the word that I was thinking of. Let's give it one more shot here, huh? Do another round. I'm going to bump it up to 11 as well. Yeah, ideally, Drawden, we'll see some gains
House
in
Jarlan guards
loading
block a
and
kobold
other
from
things
entering the anniversary party. The excited
with
creature
the
waves to you.
64-bit.
Scragno you! You helped
Provided
Scragno
your computer
harder.
can take
The
care of it.
kobold points
If you're still
inside.
running on, let's just say, an old Windows 7 machine, especially a 32-bit OS, if you're running on some kind of old HP laptop from 2010, you probably will not see much of a benefit from the 64-bit client.
The group at the
But if you're
nearby
running a more
table
modern
looks
computer
familiar.
with modern threaded
Perhaps
architecture
you met them in
and
a tavern somewhere.
more
An impressive
memory,
Warforged turns to face
you should see a gain.
There you are. Good. I've been dying to try this out. The Warforged clatters to the ground, but the head somehow continues speaking. Still a few problems with this build. I know. Next time I'll try a different rune arm, or maybe a crossbow.
Windows 3.1 and a 386. Yeah.
A dark figure beckons to you. Welcome, he cries cheerfully as he raises his weapon. You spot an unexpected figure among the party guests. Cordovan whispers something as he falls. You can't quite make it out, but you think it was something like, not cool.
So, what can we expect then for the next couple of weeks for DDO now that Update 45 is released? I would expect to see most likely a small follow-up patch within the next week here. We're currently targeting, I know, at least one change that we want to get in place before we reopen Hardcore Season 2, or open Hardcore Season 2, rather.
On a throne,
And we wanted to do that
surrounded
within,
by
like, have the game update to allow that within the next week or so. So I would imagine we're going to roll those two things together
The vanquished warrior
and
gives you one
end up
last
doing
defiance.
a
Next time, it won't be
combo
so
kind of
easy.
hot fix pre-prep for Season 2 pass within the next several days.
see a
honestly, I don't
perfectly
really
ordinary
know that
door.
I feel that comfortable talking about the why on airship cargo hold removals. I can give you a little context.
Something about this area feels
And that is that
strange to you.
years ago, when the new airships debuted, and by new I mean like 2009, right? The announcement was, and this will replace all the old airship buffs. And then we just never did. So, finally, I think the development team, for a variety of reasons, both hardcore and non-hardcore, probably, took a look at the situation and decided that now is finally the time to take care of it, now that perhaps low-level gameplay, which is particularly benefited by a constant 30 resist. Was probably. Annabelle killed me.
The creature emits a guttural groan and collapses.
I know. I think it is safe to say that the development team is aware that the removal of the resist shrines is not a very popular opinion, but ultimately is something that they felt strongly enough that they wanted to do. Good point. Your Alchemist state is not resetting on death unless that's just a UI change. I'll have to follow up on that one as
have
well.
taken over the chapter house.
Let me actually write that
No
one
one
down
is
so I don't
allowed
forget.
back there until we get the situation under control. The harbor master nods at the door. The kobolds are back there. Maybe you can do something with them.
I'm also going to ask about the scroll location there too, because I don't personally know
Kobolds
where it is.
rally around a bonfire, yipping and chanting.
Kobolds here before peoples! Kobolds, take back Stormreach!
Yeah, that's right, Lichabelle. Renamed. Yeah, Zero, cool. The reason some of those like G keys and that will need to be reconfigured on the 64-bit client is because the 64-bit client has its own user preferences INI file. That's a file you can find in your My Documents folder for Dungeons & Dragons Online, at least by default. And it'll get you, like, say, your key bindings, screen resolution, things like that.
Have transformed the
The techie folks out there who are interested in doing this kind of thing should know that you can actually open up that file like a notepad and make adjustments to it. It's also portable as well, so you can send it to an alt computer, or in my case, I often have one for a work computer and one for a home computer, and I just do that. Oops.
Kobold shamans mock you from above.
Not like kobolds here? Now you know how kobolds feel when you go in their sewers! Kobolds never forget!
So, back to sort of what you can expect in the next week or so. We have the anniversary event going on, Update 45 going on. In the near future, we're going to be reopening the Hardcore League for Season 2 and have a little bit more information about that. You'll be able to see like what kind of rewards you can get, some cool things like that. We should be hearing something more about that, I would say, within the next week or so. We'll be doing a brief follow-up patch, probably to Update 45 here. And let me call this out as well. As we head toward the end of the show, I want to call out that if you are in the Boston area, close enough to the Boston area that a couple hour to whatever is comfortable for you drive is worth it to hang out with DDO peeps, and or if you're attending PAX East, I want to let you know that we are in the process of working on a player meetup. It should be announced within the next couple of days, including an RSVP. And how it's going to work is we're going to be holding it off-site this year. It's going to be on Friday, February 28th, which is DDO's actual anniversary date, from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And I am excited to announce, for those who want to know, we're going to be holding it off-site at the Adventure Pub. The Adventure Pub. So it is about 20-25 minutes from the convention center itself, which is perhaps bad news for people who are at the convention, but better news for the other half of our attendees who tend to come from off-site, because it's going to be a lot easier to get to than trying to deal with downtown Boston on a Friday night near the convention center. So it should be a pretty convenient location. It has free off-street parking, which is nice. Actually, side street parking, I believe, is the more accurate term for it.
Down an open trapdoor.
You go down! You lost it!
Says one to the other.
And it should be cool. We're going to have games. We'll have some stuff showing up. I even understand we got a projector setup thing happening. If you're a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, member of the Games Press, or what have you, let us know. We're going to be doing some stuff, I think, for that. Additionally, we'll be seeing a bunch of swag, I think, last I heard, assuming it gets made and shipped to us in time. We're going to have a little bit of new swag this year, so that's pretty rad. So, yes, there you go. Friday, February 28th, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, Adventure Pub in Arlington, Massachusetts, if you want to look it up. We're going to be having a DDO and Lotro players meetup, general SSG meetup, for the Friday night of PAX East. No PAX East badges necessary. It is a little ways from the convention center. Hopefully we'll be working in the coming weeks with some of our regular DDO and Lotro stream team who might have cars in that to see if there's any carpooling or things that we want to do. But that's happening. And so it'll be Friday, February 28th. Hoping enough people show up. I'm a little, obviously I'm a little concerned that because we're off-site, I don't know what that's going to mean. My gut tells me anybody who can't make it off-site because of PAX East will be offset by people who suddenly can make it because they don't have to go to PAX East. But we'll kind of see how it goes. Also, it's going to be bigger. It's a much bigger space. The Adventure Pub is so on brand, it's not even funny. Whole bunch of reasons. Reason number one. It is a tabletop gaming gastropub. The entire purpose of the place is to show up with your board games, RPGs, tabletop games, or use one of theirs. Rent some space, get some apps, get some brews if you want to, or whatever. They do have a cash bar that will be available. We'll be providing some food. And you'll be able to game for free. So if you're at PAX East picking up some of those board games, and I bet you are, because oh my god,
the new dark overlord of all the
that's why I
kobolds
don't go to the
standing
PAX
atop
East
the
floor,
throne.
because it's
It's
too
no
dangerous.
wonder that old friend cheats.
Regardless, it's going to be a place to hang out, play D&D, play whatever you want to play at the Adventure Pub with other DDO players. We're picking up DDO swag, hanging with DDO and Lotro devs, seeing some cool announcements, chatting with Sev, getting some free food. It's going to be a blast, and I really hope that if you're in the area or could be in the area, that you attend. We'll have more information on an RSVP in the next couple of days. I'm going to have a survey out there so I can get a formal RSVP to send to the venue. Reason number 2, Adventure Pub is an amazing place for this meetup. It's been around a little over a year. And it is run, it was founded and run by one Athena Peters, who is a name you may be familiar with if you, I don't know, played DDO or Lotro. Also goes by the forum name Vivienne. Yep, the Adventure Pub is actually run by former executive producer for DDO and Lotro, Vivienne. So, how awesome is that? Hanging at a venue geared toward tabletop games, run by someone with a deep connection to all of our games, and a venue that is awesome for gamers. I mean, come on, right? So how cool is that? Interesting. Zero Cool has a bit of tech advice for which might be relevant to some people. If you run DDO 64-bit, your soft_OAL.dll must be placed in x64 folder in DDO to get 5.1 support. Will we have computers set up at the meetup to play DDO? I don't know yet. I talked to Athena last Thursday, and that seems like a possibility. They have internet, and we have computers, and it seems like something we could do. I'm not sure how many people actually want that. Maybe if you feel strongly, let me know. I don't actually know. I'm tempted to say at least I want 1 or 2 computers for the streamers out there who maybe want to pop onto their Twitch mixer or whatever's and say, yo, I'm at the party. How's it going all? So we should have broadcast ability there. I'm also thinking of having a couple computers for specifically DDO. So. To repeat, please, 5 sound setting. Zero Cool over on YouTube, who is a known pretty techie person, is saying if you're running DDO 64-bit and having an issue with your 5.1, like Realtek audio surround, you may need to drop the soft OAL, which I believe is the open something license, this is sort of a generic sound driver, put into the x64 folder. So, Ron, at this point, I would say give the 64-bit client a shot if you have any kind of newish computer. If it runs better for you, great. If you run into any problems with it, it's real easy to switch back. You just go to the launcher, click the drop-down arrow, go over to Options, go over to the General tab, click back to the 32-bit client. Awesome, Zer. Nice to see you there. All right. Anniversary gift this year. I don't think so. That's a very good question, though. We need to do... Oh, no. Let me double check on that. I think the answer is yes, and it's awesome. But I can't remember now. It's almost like we've been releasing 2 big things today. On the DDO side, we've got Update 45 here. That includes Delara's Catacombs, Alchemist, systems changes, 64-bit client beta, a bunch of good stuff. So hope you're here to check it out. If you want to find out more about DDO, you can do so at DDO.com. Thank you so much, everyone on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook for joining me. I'll be back next Wednesday, week 2 of 2 on Kyber. I should have a lot more information about Hardcore Season 2 and a whole bunch more in the near future. Samus Garobo, I think, is up next here. So I'm going to take on off. Thank you. Let me pop over. Thank you, everyone in chat here, for stopping by. I will get you an in-game code later on today. Have fun, everyone, and talk to you soon.